Okay, we're live. All right. Who's out there? Hi, everybody. Where's everybody from? I got one viewer so far. Good morning, you guys. Good afternoon for some, I think. Oh, here we go. Where's everybody from? Hello. Hello, Chris. Okay, got some more viewers going. Okay, so, hello. Okay, so this is my second live Facebook video. Hi. So I talked last week about why choose Chinese medicine. Hold on a second. There we go. So why choose Chinese medicine? Just a little bit of the theory behind acupuncture. And today we're going to talk more about the herbal aspect of Chinese medicine. So if you guys don't know who I am, my name's Adrienne Coombs. I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner. Hold on. There we go. Chinese medicine practitioner in BC, Canada. So share the love if you guys can. Hello, everybody. If you guys have any questions throughout the video, please just type it up and I'll try to get to it as best as I can. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, so today we're talking about herbal medicine, and I do want to brush a little bit on the concept of what is yin and yang, because yin and yang is a huge component of our diagnosis in Chinese medicine. Yin, yang, qi, and blood are the four kind of main components in your body, and for your body to be in perfect health, those four aspects need to be balanced, yin and yang especially. So what is Chinese medicine, Chinese herbal medicine? So it dates back to roughly the 3rd century BC or so. It was the medicine of all medicines. So most people think of herbs as just being a plant, but in fact Chinese herbs, they fall under a huge umbrella of any natural occurring substance that has a therapeutic benefit. So there's hundreds, if not thousands, of herbs in the Chinese medical pharmacopoeia, including everything from, of course, plants, with every specific part of the plant having a different effect. And mostly the parts of the plants are similar, but for instance, one part of a plant, like a seed, can have a very cooling effect, and the other part of a plant, like the leaf from the same plant, can have a very warming effect. So other than that, there's rocks, there's bugs, and animals. So when it comes to animals, there are so many herbs that are part of animals, but they can be harvested without harming the animal, which is kind of the route that I like to take, or if the whole animal is used. From Malta, oh hello, that's a long way away. If the whole animal is used, I find it's okay too, but to each their own discretion for sure. So, and then when used correctly, Chinese herbs have little to no side effect. Hello, Idaho. So in a plant, there may be one specific component in a herb that creates a therapeutic effect, or one little specific molecule, but when compounding a herbal formula, the entire part of the plant is used. So there's one molecule in a leaf that has a major therapeutic effect, but the other parts of the leaf, so the other components, help to balance the powerful effects, which decreases the chance of any potential negative side effects. So, Chinese herbal medicine is based on the concepts of yin and yang and qi and blood. So I talked about qi and blood last week a bit. So yeah, for the body to be healthy, you have to have sufficient qi, sufficient blood, and yin and yang need to be balanced. So we'll get to that in a second. But it focuses on understanding how and why a person's qi may become deficient or blocked. So picking the proper herbs, customizing to each person, are based on the diagnosis of patterns and unbalanced signs and symptoms. Texas, hello. So remember, you guys, just type any questions that you need throughout the video, and I'll get to them as best as I can. And make sure you guys are all sharing the love. Okay, so what yin and yang? What is yin and yang? It's kind of what TCM is based on. So TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, I use that. I always say TCM instead of that. So yin and yang are simply a way of comparing. Okay, sorry. Simply a way of comparing two things. If you take any two things, one will be yin, one will be yang. How can you tell which is which? Well, we can figure it out by understanding the nature of yin and yang. So it's roughly translated as yin is the shady side of the hill, yang is the sunny side of the hill. And these translations make clear the first thing we need to do is understand that they're opposites. So this is the whole body in balance, okay, you guys? So this is what a lot of the TCN herbal therapeutic benefits are based on. So the yin and yang oppose each other. Yin is the dark, lack of light or night. Yang is the light. Yang is day. And day and night obviously oppose each other. So this can be seen with examples of yin being very cold. It explains what winter is, sleep, and even femininity. And yang is going to be hot, summer, awake, and more the masculine component of the two. So yin is stillness, and yang is activity and movement. So you can have smaller aspects of this in all scenarios. So a bright sunny day is yang within yang, but a cloudy dark day is more yin within yang, if that makes any sense. Let's see what we got coming in here. Dun, 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 dun. What's this say? Uh-oh, hold on. Cannabis is your favorite herb. Nice. I think that goes for a lot of people. Okay, back to yin yang. So they depend on each other. They're interdependent and then rooted in each other. So you need yin to have yang to have yin. We see this in an example where if we're running, which is super yang, eventually we get tired and we have to rest, which is yin. But if we don't rest, we won't be able to run again the next day. Let me see what this says. Oh, hold on. What's this question? I can't access it. One sec. Come on. Nope. No. Can an imbalance affect lack of sleep, meaning you're not sleepy one night and not sleepy the next? Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. Yes. Hold on, I just can't Sorry, I'm just having trouble seeing the whole entire question. So can an imbalance affect lack of sleep, meaning you're not sleepy one night and sleep the next night? That's all I can see. See more, why isn't this working? Okay, well, I'm sorry, I can't see the whole question. Yes, so an imbalance can affect that for sure. Usually when you do talk about yin yang, it is within like a 24-hour period. But again, if you're up all night, say you're coming for an exam or you just can't sleep, you're going to be very yang within yin, which is nighttime. So the next day, you're probably going to be sleepy all day. So yin within yang. And then finally, hopefully that next night, you're going to be able to get a full sleep to balance the two out. So I hope that answers your question, Chris. I'm sorry, I can't see the rest of the question, but I think I answered it the best I could. Okay, so where am I? So yin and yang can turn into each other. So yin and yang can inter-transform, which means that yin can turn into yang can turn into yin. So exactly with what your question was, an easy way to think of this is using the awake and the asleep example. So as you wind down your day, your awakenedness turns into tiredness, and then eventually you go into sleep. So as yin or yang reaches its peak, so like midday would be like the peak of yang, it will slowly begin to transform into the other. So even looking at the symbol for yin yang, I wish I had a picture of it, but I don't. You know, like the circle with the squiggly line, and the one side's black, one side's white, but within the black there's a white dot, and within the white there's a black dot. So the first relationship is opposition. It's illustrated by colors of the symbol, so white and black are opposing colors. Each color takes up 50% of the circle, representing that yin and yang counterbalance each other. And then the black and white circles are intertwined, showing that they're interdependent. And the dots in the yin yang illustrate the idea that there's never anything that's purely yin or purely yang. Even the most yang part of the symbol contains some yin and vice versa. Question. I have MS. What would you suggest? Super complicated question. Again, if you were to go to a TCM practitioner, sorry, the question there was somebody here has MS and what kind of herbal recommendations would I suggest? So when it comes to Chinese medicine, I think I talked about this last week as well, there can be so many different routes that your body can take in order to develop a disease. So depending on what route your body took to get to that state, that's what we would treat. Like if people have MS, of course there are specific herbs that will help, but it's very important to get a customized herbal formula based on your current symptoms and your health history. No human body is alike, and so no herbal formula, especially for something as kind of significant as that, should be alike for everybody. I hope that answers your question. But again, with anything when it comes to herbs, I always do suggest go see a certified practitioner of Chinese medicine, just to know that you're getting the proper herbal remedy for your body. Okay, so back to Chinese herbs. That was my little yin yang tangent. So Chinese herbal medicine has the oldest continuous written history of any medical system on Earth. So like the first kind of materia medica, which is like the Chinese pharmacopoeia, it was the first encyclopedia dated back from 2700 BC, so like a long time ago. I'm just looking at the questions here. So just in that text, it listed 365 medicinal plants and their effects. So even though this is the first original record, we know that herbal medicine had been used for many, many, many years prior to that, just undocumented, or the documents had been lost. Honestly, I'm not too sure. Somebody's asking here if it's older than Ayurveda. I'm really not too sure. When it comes to Ayurvedic medicine, they're so similar to Chinese medicine. So I think the roots of both TCM and Ayurvedic medicine, I think they stem from a very similar area at a very similar time, and then just branched off to kind of create their own genre later on. Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm not too sure, but I honestly have a feeling that they're kind of like Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine started around the same time. Okay, so the original text that this materia medica was created didn't quite survive, but the information was later compiled around 220 AD. So later physicians further organized it and compiled it into a proper text that is known as a canon of classical herbology. So a little bit of like Chinese history in the Ming Dynasty, which was like the 1500s. A Chinese herbalist traveled extensively and compiled mountains of herbal knowledge into the materia medica. So where is my materia medica? I don't think I have it here, but it's like 1,500 page book that has all the Chinese herbs in it. It's what I used when I was doing my TCM school. So it has anywhere between, I think it's about 2,500 different herbs in there. But that was created in the 1500s, and that's still the textbook that we use today, which is pretty cool. So then there's another text that was created called the Shanghan Lun, another really famous text that we as Chinese medicine practitioners should all be familiar with. That was written around 200 AD during a huge cholera epidemic in northern China. So it's the first text in human history to systematically chart the progression of healing with prescribed herbal formulas, system differentiation, and the use of pulse diagnosis. So I think last week I talked to you guys a bit about pulse diagnosis and tongue diagnosis. So again, the two kind of like main ways to diagnose a patient is through your tongue and through your pulse. Again, some Chinese medicine doctors, they only use tongue and pulse. That's all they ask for and all they take a look at when they're assessing you. It is kind of like the best way to figure out what's going on the inside of your body. So with these texts that are from 200 AD, we still use about 20% of all the Chinese herbal prescriptions today. So they're based on these classics. I mean, sometimes we take a herb out from a formula, sometimes we put a herb in to customize it, but these formulas that are hundreds of, like thousands of years old, are still used today. And going back to why Chinese medicine, I mean, there's a reason for that, because they work so well. Okay, so how do we know what herbs do what? So there's a whole bunch of different fables around this. My favorite one, of course, is that there was this old man with an invisible stomach, and he just like went around eating all these herbs, and people would like sit back and watch what happened to him in his belly. Obviously hard to believe. Probably not true, but most of it was really trial and error. And even a lot of Chinese herbs that are used with very specific therapeutic benefits, sometimes they even look like the body part that it's supposed to be treating. So some plants look a little bit like a lung, and that's kind of like what they would be treating. Some plants, there's actually one that comes to mind that looks like an ovary, and it's used extensively in gynecological issues. So yeah, other than that, full on trial and error. I mean, it must have taken hundreds, if not thousands of years to figure out what all these things did. I mean, because with every herb, you have the function of the herb, the indication of the herb, so exactly what it treats, the contraindication of the herb, so what you don't want to use it with, which comes into play a lot with my practice, because nowadays it's not even just contraindicated in the patient, but we need to look at what kind of pharmaceuticals is that patient on. So a lot of my herbal education was like a lot of herbology, of course, but a lot of pharmacology, just knowing how are my herbs going to react with the patient when they start to take it. Because sometimes you can have a herbal formula that will be great for a certain patient, but maybe they're on blood thinners and it would just create worse symptoms. So again, when you're wanting to go on Chinese herbs, just make sure that you choose somebody who knows what they're doing. So yeah, so again, with the herbs, the contraindications, you need to know exactly what part of the plant uses and exactly what the therapeutic benefits of that specific area of the plant or whatever is. The dosages, how many times you should take it per day, the best way of preparation. Sometimes herbs are better eaten raw, sometimes they're better if they're boiled. So for every one herb, there's so many different things that you need to be cautious of. So a lot of animal parts that are used, there's a lot of animal parts that are used in Chinese medicine, and this is kind of what has given Chinese medicine a bad name, because there are a lot of endangered animals, or animals have become extinct because of Chinese herbs. Personally, I don't use any animal part, nor would I be able to if I wanted to. That would harm the animal. I feel that I do need to talk about this just because it is a common question that I get asked. So one reason that they would use specific animal parts is that, say they see a beautiful, strong tiger. Back in the day, these people thought that if they would eat the bone of the tiger, for example, they would get a whole bunch of strength. And back in the day, the Shaolin warriors, they would cook up tiger bones and put them into their elixirs before they would go for war. Whether or not it had a therapeutic effect, or whether or not it was more psychosomatic is kind of like, who knows. But it's just the way things were back then. And so for me, there are tons of animal parts that I do use. However, there are a lot of animal parts that are legal in Canada and illegal over the whole world and are only found in the black market. But there's things that can be used without the animal being harmed. So an example of this is, say, like elk antler. Elk antler velvet, which is a super powerful tonic in Chinese herbal medicine. Wait just a second here. Or you can even use like things like flying squirrel feces, which is super weird, but it's a very powerful Chinese herbs. And other than that, there are herbs that can be used with the animal, where the whole animal is being used. So insects is another Chinese herb. And it's up to the practitioner to determine if they want to use it in your practice or not. So there's a lot of vegan practitioners out there that won't use insects or honey, even because it's processed by bees. But I find that in my practice, insects can be very, very beneficial, very valuable in their functions. And so, hold on, let's see. Animal parts. Yeah, so a lot of people are concerned about animal parts that are used in Chinese medicine, but again, it's nowadays you don't see it at all, really, which is a good thing for sure, especially for the ones that are endangered. Okay, so herbal formula preparation. So I have a whole bunch of things to show you guys. So honey pills. So these are what I call patents. We'll go over what patents are later, but a really easy way to get to take herbs are just in these little pills. You can see them. Ah, there you go. So these are super easy to take. They're easy to swallow. I find them, to make them your own is really, really difficult. But yeah, those are those. Granules. So this is my favorite preparation of Chinese herbs. So this is my favorite herbal formula. It's called Hushu. We'll talk about it later and why I love it so much. But these are granular, this is a granulated powder. So if I can just see this here. So the herbs are cooked in a big vat. to make a tea, and then they are freeze dried. So I just mix mine with a little bit of warm water and drink it back. I find that they're the most convenient way to take Chinese herbs, and you still get a lot of the potency. Sometimes the more our herbal formula is processed, you do lose some potency. So liquid extraction tinctures. So this is my favorite tincture, Zhanggu Shui. Hushawu. What does Hushawu do? We're going to talk about that in a second. I've got a little verb about that because it is my favorite herbal plant out there for sure. Okay, Zhanggu Shui, this is my favorite liniment, and this is something that you can find in almost every single herbal dispensary in Chinatown. So in this case, the herbs are put into a big vat of alcohol, and so the therapeutic components of the herbs are taken out and then put into the alcohol. They strain it off, and so this is used topically. Zhanggu Shui is it translates as healing bone water. So super good for bruises, contusions, any sort of external trauma. I find that I go through bottles and bottles of this in clinic because it works so incredibly well. But yeah, honestly, I recommend that anybody gets this for any sort of contusions or anything like that. You can get it in any Chinese herbal dispensary, basically. I've never seen a place without that sells Chinese herbs. And then there's oils as well. So same kind of idea as the alcohol, just the herbs are placed in an oil. So the herbs can leach out into the oil, strain it off, and then I use this topically as well. I usually put this one on if there is a lot of heat within a tissue, and then I use my sliding cups over top of that. And herbal plasters. So something like this, where herbs are kind of ground, put into a medium. I think this has got coconut oil in it, and then put into a plaster. So these are awesome for lower back pain, awesome for any sort of like specific trauma, blunt force trauma, contusion, anything like that. They feel really good. They help you with pain. And again, the herbal plasters can be found anywhere, kind of any sort of herbal dispensary in Chinatown or anything like that. Okay, but like the best way to take herbal formulas is to cook them into a tea. So with this, you take all your raw herbs, you put them in a bowl, boil it up. I usually boil it twice, and then you section it into different dosages, 2 to 3 times a day for as many days as your practitioner gives you. They taste pretty gross. Like they're actually very disgusting. But I feel that like if something tastes that bad, it has to be doing something good. And for me, I mean, I always use the granular form because the cooking of the herbs, it does really take a lot of time and effort. And like when I was working in northern Alberta, my patients were working for 16 hours a day. So there's no way that they'll find time to spend an hour cooking their herbs every couple nights. So the most convenient way is granular form. And for anybody who does see a Chinese medicine practitioner, guaranteed they're going to have this way as an option for you. Okay, so let's talk about patents. So patents are anything you see in a box like this that you will find at a Chinese medical dispensary. So these, you have to be really hit or miss when you see these because the quality can sometimes be a little bit, just not good at all. There's a huge kind of uproar right now because a lot of Chinese herbs, like the ones like these patents, they contain high levels of pesticides and heavy metals. So not saying that all of them do, but a lot of them do. So you just have to be really careful of what you buy. China's soil nowadays, where these herbs grow, is pretty polluted. And even now, a lot of the Chinese herbs are getting grown in Taiwan, where the soil is a little bit better. Saying that, a lot of people ask me, well, why can't you just grow Chinese herbs in Canada? And you can, absolutely, but the thing is that it's the actual soil in China. If they're hit or miss, how do you know which are the safe ones? Honestly, it's really hard to say. I always say skip the patents and always get a good quality one from a Chinese medicine practitioner. Like these ones, you can tell. One way you can tell is that they're usually really inexpensive. Like this. Hold on, like this formula here, Ganmao, which is really good for common cold. It's a pretty safe one, but you can always tell by the price because sometimes you'll see this and it'll cost $25. Other times you'll see this and it'll cost $3. So just be really careful. There's a reason that things are higher priced, but I always suggest just going to a TCM practitioner, getting a formula from there, just because you know it's good quality. Well, you should know it's good quality anyways. But anyways, what I was getting to is that the soil wherever the herbs are grown can really create different differences in the functional components of the herbs. So you can grow Chinese herbs in Canada, but the ones that we learn with the most powerful therapeutic benefits are grown in China, or were grown in China. So let's talk about my favorite herb. This one, the one that I showed you before, is called Wu. So I love this herb because it really helped me personally. And this is something that you should be able to find a lot of places. You can get it online. And again, if you're buying things online, you do need to be careful. Again, just go to your TCM practitioner and get it from them. But the story behind this herb, well, there's a few stories behind this herb, but yeah, thousands of years ago, there was a weathered, sterile, old Chinese man with a few strands of ratty gray hair on his head. He got kicked out of his village for not paying his taxes, and he was banished from the village and sent to the mountains to live or die, but just to be alone. So 5 years went by, and one day this young-looking man with long, black, healthy, gorgeous hair came back to the village, and it turns out it was the same guy from 5 years prior, but he was now unrecognizable. So throughout the 5 years in the mountains, he had consumed a root called Wu, which is this thing. So it grew wild around wherever he was, and this herb has been known to give the gift of longevity. I use that term loosely because, I mean, there's nothing that can really give you too much longevity. But anyways, it had made his skin look younger and his hair grow black and healthy and full. So this herb has been extensively researched because of this. And in recent decades, credible scientific studies into the properties and the compositions and the benefits of Wu have confirmed that it does indeed stimulate the body to produce some longevity-promoting substances, including, I'm not going to try to say this word, but one of the most powerful antioxidants in the human body. And it has been credited with reversing many diseases. It helps with DNA protection and repair, and extends the lifespan. It can extend your lifespan in a number of different studies. How do I spell this herb? So can you see that? Heshouwu. So Wu is the Chinese name. It also goes under a name of Foti, F-O-T-I. So yeah, it's my favorite. A couple more things it does: helps to boost your libido and increase sexual energy. And my favorite thing is that it can help reverse hair loss and premature graying. So for this function, there's thousands of first-person reports and clinical studies. They're not really sure how it can really reverse graying effects on your hair, but it does have a harmonizing effect on your endocrine system, and it contains really high levels of zinc, which are both beneficial for hair growth. And then even spiritually, a lot of herbs and herbal formulas have different spiritual functions. So the spirituality aspect of Wu is that it can stimulate our intuitive abilities and can even like open us up to deeper spiritual nature and awareness. It can help the creativity. It helps. It's a really good herb for artists and mediators, anyone seeking to expand their experience of reality in a profound way. So when I take this herb, I notice a huge burst of energy. I do find that maybe I am a bit more creative when I take it. I don't know. But I started taking it because I started going gray when I was 21 years old. And my mom was like full gray by the time she was 30. So when I found out about this herb, my second year of Chinese medicine, I started taking it every day, twice a day. And that was like 12 years ago. And I just started to get a little bit of gray now. Just started. So I can tell you that it really, really helped me. And I was like blown away by the fact that my gray literally went away within like a year. Anyways. Okay, back to Chinese medicine in general. So Chinese herbs can treat and will treat anything and everything: external illnesses, internal illnesses, any ailment you can think of. And they can be so specific, especially when it comes to pain. So some herbs can bring the potency of the formula to different parts of the body. So for example, there's a herb called Duhuaji Shangtong, which is really good for lower back pain. So there's a bulk of the formula that is really good at treating pain, but then there's a couple herbs in there that will bring the formula to your lower back. So there's almost the exact same formula, but with different herbs to bring the formula to your upper back and neck. So depending on kind of what herbs are where in the formula, it can really help to take the therapeutic benefits to even even like your fingertips, your extremities, down to your toes. So you can really, really customize and have fun when you're creating herbal formulas, depending on where pain would be in the body. It can go to different organs and everything like that. What's good for arthritis in the neck? So again, what's the arthritis caused by? Is it caused by wear and tear? Is it caused by trauma? Is it caused by being out in cold weather your whole life? It's so hard to say what would be good for one person, because there's so many different reasons that illness could be created in your situation. So, I mean, there definitely are some herbal formulas out there that will help to treat, but in order to get to the root of what's really going on, you need to get a proper diagnosis from a Chinese medicine practitioner. Again, because there's different routes to what could create that illness in this specific person. Does that make any sense? I know I wish there was just like one herb to treat this and one herb to treat that, but there's not at all. It's just so everything is so customized, which is what is the best thing about Chinese herbal medicine, is that you can really get customized for this specific person. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? Anything else? Questions? I wish I had more props to show you, but I think that's it. Okay, questions? Anybody? Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure that you share the love. And again, if you have any questions at all regarding this video, please feel free to direct message me. Here we go. How do you take hushawu? So there's several different preparations that you can take for any sort of plant or any sort of herb, sorry. So this is the way that I take it. It's in the granular form. So again, this herb has been harvested, boiled in water to make a tea, and then that tea has been freeze dried. So it's super convenient. I just take one spoonful out, put it in water, mix it around and drink it back. Again, it doesn't taste very good. But there's this form. I've also seen hushawu in form of just like a little honey pill, like I showed you before. Just like little pills in a little bottle. You can get the root raw and create teas like that if you like. There's so many different preparations you can have for any herb at all. Do I use essential oils or prefer herbs? I get asked this question a lot. I honestly don't use essential oils, not because I don't like them. I think that they're great, and I think that they do like really help a lot of people. I just haven't really had the time to do all the research that's needed in order to really dive into essential oils. But I think they're awesome. But yeah, I just hadn't really found the time to really research them enough. Any more questions? Okay, guys. So again, if you do have any questions, just message me through the Facebook website, and need something to take daily for joint pain. Okay. Good question again. But again, it's just dependent. Oh, can you guys see me? I just lost my connection. So yeah, for daily for joint pain, again, it's just, you need to find out what's exactly causing the pain, and, is it something that's like something that you're eating, something that, you know, is it weather related? Is it trauma related? So again, just making sure that you find a good, herbal practitioner. And again, if you guys need access to traditional Chinese medicine practitioners in the States or anywhere in the world, I'm a part of a huge network online that we can kind of point people in the right direction of where to go. But just make sure that you contact me if you're looking for something in your area, because the best way to go about treating arthritis, example, with herbs, is just finding somebody who can customize you a formula. Where would I find these when you're rural area country? Okay, so where would I find these when you're in rural country areas and farms? You got to go to the city, or you can order them online. If you want, I can put you in touch with a couple really good herbal distributors in the States. Make sure that you just direct message me, just some reputable companies that have really good quality herbs. Because again, you do have to be careful when you're buying herbs online, because of the quality. It's really hit or miss. What else? Any other questions? Okay. All right, guys. So, okay, Okay, so can you direct message me your email? Yeah, so how do you get a hold of me? I think that you'd be able to find me through the Facebook page. How about, yeah, I think that it should say on the live, like, who, hold on a second. Okay, so in order to find me, just leave a, there we go, thank you. Healing Through Me, thank you very much. So just click on that, like my page, and just send me a message through there. So, and then we can just chat through that. And if not, just make sure you leave another message on this video, and I'll go through all the comments today and get a hold of you guys if you can't get me through my website, the Facebook page. Anything else? Thank you. Okay, guys, so again, shoot me a message if you have any questions, and next week, I haven't really decided what I'm going to talk about next week. I think we might do a talk on myofascial techniques that I use to treat my patients. So we'll do cupping, gua sha, moxibustion. I said I was going to talk about moxibustion in this video, but the herbs is just too much to really break it up. So yeah, and then just my different myofascial techniques. So we'll talk about that next week. This is really great. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and I will see you guys soon.